The best language learning habits to boost your learning efficiency. So this is going to be probably a bigger video than normal, but it is a very, very important one, so strap in. So language learning habits are basically habits that you incorporate to boost your learning speed. So healthy habits are something you should have in all your life, and language learning habits are going to be healthy for your growth. So how fast you can learn a language. Everyone wants to learn a language faster, and a lot of people come back with responses like the time is set in stone, you're a beginner, you're not going to be able to learn fast. And that's true, but you're going to be a more efficient learner if you incorporate these habits. That's just obvious. If you're doing all the right things, you're copying what experts have learnt to do, you're obviously going to learn quicker than someone who doesn't do any of that. So these habits are broken down into both daily and weekly. You don't have to do all of these every single day, but they should all basically be done regularly if you want to hit every part of the language and learn as efficiently as possible. So healthy habits are the best way to learn new things. You're going to learn about a few of them that I use for language learning, and that other experts and polyglots are recommend for language learning. So, and as I said before, not having language learning habits will sabotage your progress. Not in the sense that you will completely fail, but if you just if you're doing on and off, not really trying that hard, not doing these things, you're not really going to learn properly, and you're going to be angry at yourself because you're not learning fast enough. Just listen to me, just do these things and it will work. I've tried it, it's proven. And a polyglot, if you don't know, is someone who can speak 5+ languages. That is not me yet, but I am working there. It'll be something I achieve in a matter of years, so I'm going to document that on this channel. But the best learners, people who have already learnt many languages, you can look them up. There's Steve Kaufman, Ollie Riches. There are plenty of people in different countries, because it's a good thing about language learning. They can probably speak your language if they're a polyglot. So the best learners have routines with many habits, and it's obviously, you might as well hit the ground running and learn what they do. So daily and weekly, like I said before. As far as daily habits go, first of all, something you need to know is consistency. So you must try to do something every single day. Daily habits don't apply if you're not going to do it every day. Otherwise, they're not daily. They're every 2 days, every 3 days. It needs to be daily. Now, understand, as I've got written down the bottom, some days you won't have time to learn, and that's okay. You just need to do your best. Obviously, you can't do it every single day. Everyone's life is crazy. You never know what's going to happen. That's fine. But you should at least try. Don't make excuses to yourself. You should try and do something every day. The best way to go about that is to figure out how you work. So if you work best this is how I work. Doing the hard thing straight away in the morning is the best thing for me to keep a positive habit. So if it's something new I'm trying to do, like it's running or whatever, I'll always do it first in the morning. I'll also do that with language learning because I get it out of the way. And it's not that I dislike it, but it is the task. So I try and do that first thing in the morning, whatever works for you, but you just need to be consistent. Now, what I've got in red is extremely important, and I'm definitely going to do an actual video on that later because it's so important, and nobody, literally, I haven't seen anyone really, even experts, talk about it in this way. The 3 kind of tenets of language learning, which is learn, consume, produce. Those are the 3 things that are going to hold up your learning growth, because people will say, oh, you need to learn this, I'll read books, I'll write stuff down, but they don't narrow it down to these categories. These are the 3 things that will literally help you learn a language. Literally, you're looking at them, I'm giving you the answer. You need to learn, consume, and produce. I'm going to tell you how to do all those things. So every day, learning is new words, vocab, rules, which is like grammar and stuff, reviewing, so going back over stuff you've kind of forgotten or gotten a bit foggy on. That is the learning component. So you need to make sure you are actually teaching yourself stuff. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can learn from videos where people explain stuff. You can, there's websites, you can download PDFs free. Basically anything teaching you new words, explaining stuff, clearing up your questions, that is learning. You obviously have to do that, that's pretty obvious, but having it in this way with the 3 tenets is going to help you. You need to consume, that's the second tenet. Consume basically means, obviously not eating, but it means basically absorbing kind of media. So I'll give you an example. So reading books, any kind of media, so movies, TV, vlogs, anything in your language like that, it's kind of just exposing yourself to that language. Educational videos by natives, experts, so not necessarily them teaching you stuff, but just literally them talking, having a conversation, and they've designed it for your learning, so it's structured that way. That's excellent. And content is excellent. practice, and it's also immersion. I've got that in green because I'm going to talk about later. Immersion is a very important concept. So yeah, you need to learn, you need to consume, and you also need to produce. So not only are you teaching yourself things and consuming content to learn that language even better, but you also need to produce. There's a Japanese concept, I forget the name of it, but it's the 3 stages of learning, which is learning the rules, breaking the rules, and making the rules. So what you're doing with producing is you're kind of that 3rd stage, the most advanced stage, which is making the rules. So the best way to produce, I found, is journaling. There's other ways to do it, but I guess conversation ties with that. Sorry, I didn't see it because journaling is in green and it stuck out. But the best way to produce, producing is kind of like the language is coming out of you. So anything you're doing where you're making the language, so talking to people, you're obviously saying the words, you're not having them said to you or learning them. Journaling, which I will also talk about later because it's extremely important. Teaching other people, or even teaching yourself, like out loud, writing stuff down, talking to someone like if you were teaching them, is a good way, because the thing about language learning is it's so personal that no one can really teach you 100% properly, but you could teach you 100% properly. So if you pretend to teach yourself, you actually will kind of get it into your own head better. Testing yourself is good, like as I've got there, you can write down a bunch of words in English or the language you're learning and then write the corresponding thing, if that makes sense. Like you write all the words down in English and then write them out in the language you're learning. Say it's Italian, you'd write all the Italian words out from memory and then you can mark yourself. I've got become schizophrenic. I basically mean just talk to yourself. So you can literally just monologue out loud in that language. It sounds really weird. Maybe don't do it around people, especially if they have access to medicine and stuff. They might try and put you on something. But it is actually really effective and it does work. Bit weird, but it does work. So yeah, learning is being taught stuff, consuming is being given the language, and producing is making the language. Those 3 things will help you actually learn the language effectively. And then we've got weekly. So this is probably more the habit stuff. Weekly, you do need to incorporate a variety of language learning habits into your schedule. So although you can't do all of these every single day, you should be basically doing them across a week. If one of them really doesn't work for you, and you're not making excuses, it really doesn't work for you, that's fine, and it's actually normal because everyone is really different. But you do need to make sure you're trying hard and you're doing all these things. And yeah, better than just winging it and stuff like that, polyglots and experts in the military or whatever, just for fun, for example, go further and they actually have a routine they follow, and this is the best thing you can do. So you know what you're going to do basically on each day. So you need to make sure when you're language learning that you are taking notes on everything. You have a kind of journal to write it down. Scrap pieces of paper is not good enough. You should write it down, and writing it down is better than typing. That's been proven. I'm not 100% sure why, but you should write stuff down. Flashcards, any kind of thing where you can guess, check, guess, check, guess, check. You don't even need to make them physically anymore. They've got apps and all kinds of stuff. You can just, that kind of thing. Even if you just write stuff down, cover it with your hand, take your hand off until you can know stuff. I do that because I have quite a good memory for, not a photographic memory, but probably the next one down from that. That is an advantage in my learning. Testing yourself, that kind of applies to a lot of different things. Any kind of test where you're seeing how good you are and then noting what you're good at, so you don't have to focus on that as much, and what you're bad at, so you do focus on that more. That is excellent. Freestyle journaling, I talked about on the last slide. Basically just writing out stuff, writing your thoughts like, hello, my name is Ethan, hello, this is what I did today, I hate this, or like just general stuff. That's what it's going to be when you start. Like, I eat this, I drink this, just random stuff, because you can't write complex sentences. And then when you get towards the end, you can monologue, just like I'm talking right now, about whatever you want. And then talking to a native, if possible. Talking to someone face-to-face or through FaceTime or whatever who actually speaks that language is excellent. Not everyone can do it, but with a person in real life, but you can definitely get access to that somehow, and you probably should do that. It can cost money, but I would recommend it. But yeah, those are the things you need to do on a weekly basis. Obviously, you don't need to do all of those every single day, but you should try and do a combination of those across a week whilst remembering these 3 things. They kind of go together really well. Immersion and journaling, those 2 things I talked about, mentioned before, that are both in green. They're really important. That's why I've given them their own slide when they're only 2 things. So they're both extreme powerhouses. They do need a video of their own to explain properly, which I'll do. But basically, immersion, the first one, is the practice of surrounding yourself with your chosen language. So you literally, obviously you don't have to write it on the walls like you're in The Shining or whatever, but you do need to have a lot of it in your life. You can't just open a book, do a bit, and do that kind of thing. You should try, if you can, literally just chuck the subtitles on that language on the news, or read a bit in the morning and at night. Have your phone, like I know some people when they learn Arabic, they change their phone clock literally just to Arabic numbers. And like, even though obviously you're going to learn the numbers, it's pretty straightforward, 1 to 10, and you never have to again. Just seeing that is immersing yourself in the language. Obviously you can't do that if you're learning like French or something, they have the same numbers, but that kind of thing, literally just immersing yourself in the language is going to help you a lot. And exposure is an incredibly powerful thing. You might not think it is, but just looking at stuff in that language is actually rewiring your brain and making it easy to do that. It's like, take Russian for example. They have some letters the same as us, but they're pronounced differently. So when you read them as a beginner, you kind of get stuck because you're still in that only English mindset. But if you continue to do it, your brain becomes more fluid and you're able to switch easily just through exposure, because you're learning, okay, I need to do both of these things. These are both tasks I need to do. So I'm not going to eliminate everything else and only try and do the English way. That's just an example. And yeah, exposure is incredibly powerful. That's why it's used for brainwashing. It literally is exposing people to stuff, changes their beliefs. That's why people who watched only one news thing will gradually adopt the beliefs that those people have. It's been proven. It's nothing nefarious with language learning, obviously, but it is extremely powerful, and it just happens to be a powerful thing. And then journaling, the other one, is an excellent production strategy and an excellent strategy overall. Just freestyle journaling, even in English, is really good for your health, and you should definitely do it in the language you're learning, because it's going to be good for you. Just writing stuff down is good, expressing your thoughts, and it's really rewarding to read back over it once you've made a lot of progress and seeing how bad you were at the start and correcting your mistakes, that kind of thing. But yeah, to conclude, results are the product of the effort you put in. That is something you should get into your head with everything, not just language learning. Don't cheat yourself. Results are always going to be, they're going to come to you if you put effort in. And if you put more effort in, you're going to get more results. If you put less effort in, you're going to get less results. It's the number one rule of productivity. Never forget that in anything. And yeah, as I said at the start, everyone wants to learn as fast as possible. Obviously, a lot of people say, they try and clickbait you and say, oh yeah, this is how you learn a language in 3 seconds. Or they say the opposite, which is, no, you can't learn fast. It has to be slow. It's somewhere in the middle, probably closer to the second one. It is a slow process, but I'm teaching you ways to try and help you and make it easier, and you'll learn faster. And yeah, it is only achievable with this if you incorporate more of these habits in your life. There's no other shortcut. You have to get it into your brain somehow. You might as well use the best ways to get it into your brain, so you don't have to keep relearning and rehashing stuff as more times than you should, because it's going to annoy you. And yeah, trying hard is a time investment. So the more time you invest is a pretty good indicator of how fast you'll learn. If you staying consistent. Sorry, I've got down the bottom. I was going to end the video, but I didn't even realize I was out there. Staying consistent is extremely important. If you try really hard, take a few weeks break, try really hard, you are stalling yourself as well. Obviously, like I said, things happen. You have to take breaks because of stuff in your life. That's okay, but just stay consistent, work hard. Don't cheat yourself. I know you're going to put in hard work. Don't cheat yourself by stopping and giving up for a little bit and saying, oh, I need a break, and then you come back and you know less, because then you might give up for real. You might think you're giving up temporarily, and then you try again and be worse and you give up for real. And I don't want that happening for anybody. So yeah, stay consistent, work hard. Yeah, that's basically everything. Those habits will be good, and I'll keep the videos coming explaining them more. Thank you.